What's going on, everyone? And welcome to another episode of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're four ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan, what's good, my guy? I was told I needed more energy, so I brought more.
What's up, everyone? And thank you for tuning in to another episode where we turn our dreams into reality. We stop all the wishing and we start taking action. And in today's episode, we do our celebrity of the month, which is a former collegiate football player, now motivational speaker, Mr. Inky Johnson. Inky, come on over here, my man. He's actually here.
You know, he sounded. You did sound like you were introducing him, like he was in.
I know. That's what I meant to.
I was like, he's about to walk onto the screen.
Come on,
and he doesn't.
Like
and he doesn't like to be called a motivational speaker. He likes to be called an inspirational speaker.
Inspirational speaker, motivational speaker. I just Googled it. All right, but before we get into all that goodness, right? And we talk about his little brief history of how he came up from nothing and where he is today and the nuggets he left behind for us to keep forging forward towards our dreams. We first need to start off with our wins and our losses and how we can take our losses or our wins and keep moving forward and learn from them. So I always like to pass the ball to Mr. Vic first because he gets mad on pass the ball. So here you go, brother.
I only got mad at you one time because you were breaking everything. And I was like, if you shoot the ball again.
Man, it felt good. It feels good off my fingertips.
Yeah. But no, man, it's good to be on another week here in the podcast with y'all. And if y'all listening, and thank you for y'all for listening as well. But man, big wins. I restarted my learning about with real estate investing. So started doing that and started with kind of almost the same as Make Real Estate Real. So that course similar, but with in Texas. So I joined this kind of networking group with real estate investing. It's really a wholesale real estate investing group. They do a couple other things, but it's mostly that. It's a Texas thing. So it's Austin, Dallas, Houston, and other places, but mainly those three metro areas. So I joined their Wednesday meeting. They do like 3 hours. It was on Zoom. It was good stuff. A lot of things that I'm learning, things that I'm finding out, just researching. I put like a spreadsheet of steps that I need to take and stuff like that. I keep on track with myself. So that was a win. That was a win for me. Just keeping myself accountable and keeping track of it.
Proud of you for going out there and doing that. A lot of people are a little scared. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when they tell me what's it called? REI meetups.
Yeah.
I still haven't done one. I'm too scared to go out there, mingle with people.
I had done a couple of those, but a lot of them you have to be careful because they're promoting their courses and stuff like that. So
so I mean, they do that.
I'll promote my course there too.
But they give you just enough to get you hooked, but not enough to actually figure out exactly how to.
Well, this one's the same as everything's the same.
That's good.
Yeah, it's the same. They got a Facebook group you join. They got a little starter kit thing. Well, this one they're giving it for free. So it's everything's digital. You read on it. They give you all this resources and things you can. It's pretty cool because I like the local of it. So I can make local connections, lenders, investors, people looking for a deal. They have the money. They're looking to, find an investment property. They want to give the money, So I like the local part of it. And just that's what I want. Just making the connections, networking. And then I need a mentor, someone that's been doing the game, so I can kind of get myself attached to that. I can see there's a lot of people here in Austin or just locally in Texas, so I can kind of get in the game a little bit. So that's kind of my strategy right now, just getting started learning and then just learning from others that already been doing it.
You're following the plan, doing the research, getting in the environment, trying to get a mentor.
And
Well,
I have
let's
a
see.
really good book on wholesaling. If I can find it, I'll let you use it.
Books.
Yeah. And so
And it's a pretty short, easy book to read, but it gives you really good details. So
Vic, give me a
if I
loss,
find it, I'll
player.
let
Give
you.
me a loss, my man.
yeah, I'm trying to think of a loss. I would
Besides you
say
ugly.
partly loss. I haven't I was planning on doing like 4 CG workouts this week. I'm only done 2. So that was pretty the only loss. I went to the gym, I think twice, so I still got 4 workouts in total. But I wanted to go a little bit more harder on the Camp Gladiator workouts. I did a virtual online one. And then I went to Sergio this morning down the street over here. And so
Where'd you slip up at? Like, you had that goal. Like, what happened?
I wanted to go to what was it, today's Thursday? I wanted to go Tuesday morning. I slept in. My body was tired. So on what is it, Monday? Yeah. So it was a busy day. I did a lot. We're still doing 1,000 hours with my family of being outside. So I did camp, and then we went to walk for like an hour, which was about 1.5 miles. Then I did a little bit of my side gigs, another probably 3 hours outside, just doing stuff, climbing into an attic and stuff like that. Came home. I think we still went out to walk a little bit more to get more time in through 1,000 hours as a family. So by the end of the day, like I was like beat, like I was tired. So I needed to sleep. So I slept. So I wanted to wake up. I was like, I'm putting my alarm on, wake up, and then it ended up not waking up. I did wake up, and then I kind of went back to sleep.
Yeah.
So but I needed to sleep, feel rested, but I still got to work out in either way. So yeah. So I'm probably gonna get 3 CGs this week. I'm probably gonna do either a virtual in person, maybe Saturday, but I hit another gym session for sure.
Chris, tell me a win, player.
So this win is actually for all of us, not just for myself. But I mean,
Take my stuff, man. Don't take it. Don't
sorry.
I'll just play.
It's probably well, today, as we're recording, this is actually our 50th episode, so it's a big milestone for us.
Hey, shout out to 50th.
Yeah. So I didn't take what I think you're talking about.
I was just playing. I wasn't gonna use it.
But yeah. So that's our 50th episode. So like, I mean,
we made it. We cracked the 50.
Yeah, like we're halfway to that 100 mark. So like, we'll just have to keep it up and just keep pushing on. But
well, tomorrow marks our year. Like that wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
if I didn't have a positive, tomorrow marks the year. That's just a big win itself. So shout out to you guys. Cheers.
Yeah, most podcasts don't make it a year. So that's start.
Usually when you see them, like a lot of them, unless they're big ones, they maybe last 20, 30 episodes.
They do seasons because they ask them
or they do
they didn't want to commit to that year, right? They're like, I don't know if I can commit. Yo, we went all in.
Yeah, so shout out to all you guys and all our listeners that have stuck with us throughout the year.
For sure.
My loss for the week. So for the people that don't know who haven't listened to all our episodes, like I'm an MRI tech at one of the bigger hospitals in Austin, Texas, and we just lost 2 of our techs, and we were already a little short staffed. So now all the techs that are still remaining, their job is going to become a lot tougher and a lot busier. So, and because that hospital, even though it's a bigger hospital, they also don't like to pay very well, especially to contract workers. So no one wants to come work for us. So finding out that news today, especially one of the techs was like one I was closest with. So that's kind of a bummer. But
just quit, bro. Just quit. Go all into entrepreneurship.
I don't know if I could afford to do that just yet.
Yeah, I'm having a baby like in a couple weeks.
That's all right, dog. Just do it and tell your wife, and then it's already done.
The Jonathan method.
Yeah, do the. We're gonna figure it out, babe. I'm sorry. Do the
full sin method.
Oh snap! Did you? Yeah, brother. So that's. Hey, you're about to put yourself in a whole new environment, work more, baby, all that good stuff. It's just only gonna make you stronger. That's it, my man. Yeah. Hang in there. We got your back. Just text us, even though you don't like to text back or text us. But anyways,
I'm just not I'm a big texter in general. So,
Mr. Ian, what's up, baby? Win or loss? got
Loss.
I'm
Wait,
just-
what?
I just,
Is that 5 minutes?
I said 5 seconds.
Oh,
I'll
interesting.
just play.
Very interesting. I'm sucking on my reading, dude. Like really bad.
What
I'm
the?
not getting.
It's only been a week into the new year.
No, like as in like I didn't finish my book last month, and it's into this month. That
Well,
bad.
you got reset. This is the book for
Yeah,
this
don't worry
month.
about what
Yeah.
happened
Hey,
last
last
time.
year's gone, brother.
Yeah.
It's done.
This is
Okay.
If anything, you got a head start.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, you got a head start.
that's actually what I did. Like with my first book for the last year, it was a book that I had already started, but was not that far into.
There you go.
So that's my loss, kind of win, I guess. But a true win from me. Past week, I feel like I have filled all 3 of my buckets. You know, spiritual. What is it? What are the 3 buckets? I don't even know, but I feel like they're filling up all together, and it feels kind of good.
My 3 buckets: spiritual, physical, and
Emotional.
mental.
Yeah. So every day, my mom got me and Steph a Mr. and Ms. devotional book. So every day there's a devotional. So we've been reading that, and God, it's so weird, like how he works in my eyes. Like her and I had like a disagreement argument today. None of us touched the book. We're sitting down. There's still that awkwardness between us, and then we read it, and literally like just almost verbatim on like what not to do. It's right there, and I'm like, there's no way possible that this is just pure luck. But that, you know, obviously that's my belief. So I got to share it.
That's good, man.
For the past week, we've been outside like for at least an hour. So all the kids, my daughter's taking a high interest in eating better and working out. She's working out at school, but then we're also working out here at home. So it's making me work out too. So it's all
Something
starting. Yeah, it's
our teens.
Yeah.
Our teens right here. Something in the air, bro. They're
Feeling
freaking turning into monsters.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my week.
Well, you know, the only win that I had was like the year. Like we hit tomorrow, we hit a year, guys. But other than that, for those of you guys who don't know, entrepreneurship is never ending grind, right? There's never this satisfaction point where there's never this arrival, there's never this destination. You know, to be completely vulnerable. I've been 6 years in, or 6 years in April into entrepreneurship. And you know, I thought I could take care of everything on my own and let my wife stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom while she works these small little businesses and, you know, does what she wants to do, follow her passions. But this year, unfortunately, you know, I cannot cover enough financially to keep us there. You know, funds run out. COVID hit tremendously hard on my financial status. You know, but I was able to bring it back up, but not enough, and not enough as soon as I could, because now 2022, my wife is going back to work part-time. And so what that means, I have less time to work all my businesses. And so because now I have majority of my time are with my kids, my wife is working, like she can't be bothered. Now I got the babies. And so my life is completely been turned upside down. And just in week 1, it has been a crazy start back. Like, you know, I was in entrepreneurship. I was in the ocean. I was swimming. I was selling. I had a margarita in my hand. I had a lot of time to do a lot of different things. And, you know, now that time is taken away from me. And now I'm having to be more efficient. It's going to be my efficiency, or effective is my word for 2022, because I have less time. So I got to be more efficient and strategize how I work, because I have a short amount of time. It's also a blessing and a curse, because, you know, I was in the ocean, I was swimming, I had my margarita, but now I'm like back on the sand and I'm trying to get back into the ocean onto my boat, and the waves keep pushing me back. And it's been really tough of trying to figure out a routine, trying to learn and give the energy for the kids, because there's constant attention, right? You look, if you don't keep an eye on him for 2 seconds, one's putting something down his throat and possibly choking, and or one's probably putting blankets over the other. Like it's just like constant energy and learning how to maneuver with them. And so, man, I don't have a whole lot of time with work. So when I do work, there's anxiety, there's pressure of like, I got to get all this stuff done in like this hour or 2 hours. And it's like, man, I'm like trying to swim out there and I keep getting pushed back, but it's only week 1. The blessing is in disguise is I was really taking advantage of the time that I did have when I was like fully flexible and capable with all my hours. Because I was super not being productive looking back now. And, I'm talking about I want to be better and work strong and be more effective. And now, this has been put into my lap to maybe put my ass in check of like, bro, you weren't even productive when you had the time. So now, you got that perspective of, okay, now I'm gonna give you less time. So figure that shit out because you have to. And so I'm here trying to swim and get past what is that first part of the ocean called? Samba? It's like Moana. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy don't, like you got to pass the waves to get to the smoothness.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get past the waves right now, brother, of acquisition and learning. And it's definitely mentally tough, but we're going to get through it because I understand it's for me. I got to keep telling myself that.
Yeah. I do got a question though. Yeah. I got a question. Was it Jelly that was it Kai or Dallas that got it on the couch? Cause I got to know what it was.
Is my son, I'm all about like trying to please these fools right now until I learn the ways. And so once I try, bro, I'm like I use food as a way to comfort these fools. So he starts I'm like, hey, y'all want a peanut butter jelly sandwich? Yeah. Yes. I'm like, bet.
Yeah. It sounds good.
And this fool, my 1-year-old, about to be 1-year-old, he just rips foods apart. And so inside's a peanut butter and jelly. So he got peanut butter jelly all over his hands, touching shit. And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to work and be with them. And so my eyes and my attention span with them, sometimes I'm not looking. And Desi comes home where she came downstairs. She's like, bro, what the are you doing down here? Jelly everywhere. So, but yeah, man, I'm going to hang in there. I understand it. All right. I might be swallowing some water, but we're going to get through it.
We'll get through it. We'll figure it out.
Oh, we're gonna figure it out. Anything's possible. Everything's figure-outable, and I understand. Like we're gonna get through this thing. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and let's talk about Mr. Inky Johnson. I'll go ahead and cover a quick story of my guy because he's one of my favorite motivational speakers, and I listen to his story almost every other day. And so everybody's success story that we cover, guys, they all leave nuggets, and the people we cover that we purposely choose them because they start from zero. They start from nothing. They're like from us, guys. We have nothing and we're trying to get somewhere to make a bigger impact on not just ourselves. And so Inky Johnson, perfect example, guys. Here goes this story. He grew up in a household with 14 people in a 2-bedroom house. All right, that just kind of gives you like what's going on. 14 people in a 2-bedroom house. That is insane to think about. His mom worked double shifts at Wendy's all throughout his childhood. Right. So now you're thinking, oh my God, like what is going on? Right. So as a child, as like 7, 8 years old, he it's so wild how, he was chosen to understand the perspective that he was in because he literally notices this. And during this time that he notices like, man, this is hard. I got to get us out of here at such an early age. He took an attraction to football. He became really good at football. And he's like, yo, this is it. I'm going to go to NFL. I'm going to get my family out of here. We're going to live a better life. I'm going to be the person to do it. So right then and there, like he made this decision that football was it. Football was the meal ticket. And that was his main driver. And if you notice his why wasn't about him. What was his why about? Like
just
getting his
family out of
poverty.
Family up out of here. Like I could be the first one to change the game to let everybody know that this could be happening. And so, he did just that. So as he was growing up, he was phenomenal. He was quick. He was a football player. He was a safety. He was just an athlete to the T, but he had this work ethic of Kobe Bryant. Like he was going to outwork you. He was going to separate you. If you did this, he was going to do a little bit more because he had this bigger driver, this bigger purpose behind him. Like when you have that, that's kind of what I wake up with. And I think that's what majority of us, like we we have this purpose and this why that, man, we have to be that first ones to do it so we can break that cycle of like, man, anything is possible. And so when he gets to high school, like, he's phenomenally skilled. Like, this guy should be going to college, should be going to the NFL. But the only problem was his grades were shit. And so coaches and scouts are checking them out and telling them, like, you're fast, you're quick, you're all good. But we're not even talking about college. We're talking about you graduating high school. And so he ran into that problem. But until one day, the coach from Tennessee came and talked to him and said, hey, don't listen, we're going to figure that out. I want you to come play football for me. And so he was all like, bet, like, this is it. I'm going to go play football from you. I'm going to do exactly what I'm here, was put on this earth to do, was to change my family's lives, get us out of here. And so he went to Tennessee. This fool did exactly that. He went out midway through the season. He gets a call from one of the coaches and says, hey, Inky, all you got to do is play the next 8 games or 10 games, and you're guaranteed to the NFL, and you're going to be a multimillionaire. So that day, he immediately hung up, called his family, called everybody, and said, hey, we're never going to have to miss another meal again. We're never going to have to struggle. I'm going to the NFL. Hangs up the phone. A couple of days later, plays the game, plays against Air Force. It's fourth quarter. Now, remind you, he's a safety, right? He's back there. He's a safety. It's fourth quarter. Quarterback leans back, throws out a far one to the receiver, and he hits the receiver. Receiver's running down the sideline, and here comes Inky Johnson. He's the safety. He's like the last guy, right? He has to hit him. So, bro, we watched the video. Inky Johnson comes flying at this dude, flying like midair, hits this good dude on the sideline, tackles him, kills the play. But when he hit him, that one spot right there where he hit him and changed his entire life right then and there. He couldn't get back up. His teammates like, yo, get up. He couldn't get back up. He had to go to the emergency room. Like, he couldn't feel anything from the neck down. So he figured like, okay, I'm going to be better. Like, I'm about to go to the NFL. Like, nothing in this moment could change my life forever. Actually, like, this mindset he has. So he's very optimistic. Well, he was 2 minutes to the hospital, and the doctor came up to the room and was like, hey, we got to go to immediate surgery. Like, you're about to die. Literally. He's like, what? Like, what's going on? He's like, bro, I just, it's injury. I'm going to get better. He's like, no, you're about to die. So they had to remove some arteries, switch some things up, put him in emergency room, and, all was well. They fixed up some things. But when he woke up, the doctor said, hey, I got some good news and got some bad news. He's like, the good news is we saved your life. He's like, okay, cool, bet, right? And the bad news is you'll never play football again a day in your life. And he is all like, Inky, you're paralyzed on your left arm. You're never gonna be able to move it again. And so if you notice Inky, he's always wearing this sleeve because there's atrophy in his arm. Like, he can't move it. He has no function in his left arm again. And so, he went to that, why me? What's going on? He was 8 games away from changing his family's life forever. And that was that one push, that one motive to get his whole family and change the trajectory of his life, was going to NFL. And all that was ended in that one tackle in the fourth quarter, completely gone, no longer a multimillionaire, contracts gave up, all that. So they put a period at him, right? We talked about a period. We spoke about a period before in the podcast of like, this is the end. Like, there's not going to be any more Inky Johnson. He's going to go back home, go back to what they normally do, and not be another guy to finish college, not be another guy to make it to the NFL, just another dude who had a dream. And so in that moment, though, guys, what they didn't realize, it was a blessing, because now he takes that moment and it shifted his whole entire life. Like, he wrote a book. He took it, like, he did some amazing things. Now he's a motivational speaker, speaking about how you could take your bad moments, you could take your opposition, adversity, and it doesn't matter about anything. It just matters about giving your best every single day. And so this is where we literally saw this guy, Victor and I, speak on stage just a month ago, and just an amazing fella. And so this is a brief story just about Inky Johnson and how he had this incredible will, and he had this catastrophe that would end most people, but it didn't end him. If anything, it shifted and, shifted in the bigger direction where God had plans for him to impact more people with the story like us. And so I wanted to go into how we learn from these guys. All these celebrities talked about leave nuggets, leave success stories for us to follow so that we can keep forging forward for our dreams. And, I want to pull from one, and I want you guys to pull, like, what did you learn from Inky? What is some stories that you feel like you can actually apply? Like, maybe you didn't learn it until today or this past week and you can apply it. But there's a story that came into mind today, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about Inky for, besides I love this guy. But my son comes on, and I told you, like Ian said, our kids right now are drinking the water right now. And so they're like super into fitness, health, looks. They're teenagers, right? So they're getting to that phase. And so Jeremiah, my son, is 14 years old. You know, he's been working out religiously, like crazy, like monstrous, like David Goggins stopped working out. He won't get off this goddamn cardio treadmill behind me. He's been counting his macros, he's been, you know, food prepping, been all this stuff. And so we started back at school, and he's like, yo, I want to take my meal prep to school. I want to take my protein shake to school. I want to take my protein bar to school. And he came home, he's all like, hey, he's like, man, yeah, Dad, I appreciate, you know, helping me out, all this kind of good stuff. He's like, but my friends, like, they don't really understand why I'm like eating this stuff and, you know, drinking these shakes. It's like, they're saying like, you know, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to come from it. I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, hey, you know, something I learned from Inky, you know, in this phase was, in a little bit of leadership, was that you have to be willing to go first. And that touched me as a leader, because when it comes to leadership, and one of the greatest aspects of a leader is somebody who's willing to go first in all aspects, right? If you want better communication with your team, you got to have better communication first. If you want respect from your team, you got to give respect. You want loyalty, you got to give loyalty first, right? And so some of the things I learned from like Jocko, but when Inky said it, you got to be willing to go first. I had to give that speech to Jeremiah today. I was like, they're not going to understand, son, but you cannot let them veer you from what your goals are, because I'm telling you, you got to be the first one in the group. And once they start seeing you maneuver and start seeing you move, some are going to jump on and some are going to leave, and it's going to be okay. But you're going to be able to be that first one to impact. I was like, son, you got to be willing to go first in the face of opposition and adversity. When your friends don't understand or are making fun of you, you got to stay strong and stay grounded on your 2 feet to understand, you know, your why. Why are you doing this? So that way you can keep pushing forward. And I was like, once you keep pushing forward, they're going to get motivated and see that you're really doing some things. And they're going to want to jump on board with you. And that's when you create impact. That's when you become a leader. That's when you become influence. And I was like, so I actually learned that right there from Mr. Inky Johnson. So I learned, man, my whole life is around Inky Johnson, guys. So during y'all's little aspect of, you know, researching, you know, Inky Johnson, what are the things you learned? That was mine. What do y'all think about that? Does that sound like legit? Is that good advice?
Yeah,
No, I think that's great advice. I think, especially, I think when you're young, I mean, like, man, you feel a lot of, you feel pressure from like friends. You want people to accept you. You think, you care about what people think a lot, right? What they say and stuff like that. So I think that was good advice. You gotta do it first. And then once you get the results, you know, once they're gonna want to do what you do. And so, man, I came across Inky Johnson last year, when I really kind of jumped into, you know, entrepreneurship. So I needed like motivation. I needed something to keep me going, right? Listening to other entrepreneurs, other people that are doing it out there. So I came across him, and I love this story of like, you know, overcoming adversity, and really, man, like really seeing your dreams just like, you know, evaporate, right? Like you had your whole, like, man, my life was like already there. Like my future, my life was made. I know what I was gonna do, and yeah, you know that, you know,
your whole life.
Yeah, like it was done. It was good, and then man, it gets taken away like that. So that really impacted me. That because I can see myself, you know, being so close to achieving my dream, and then freak accident, something like that tragic happens, and you're damn, you know, you're in that situation to where you're like, you know, what else do I got? Where do I go? Where do I turn? Like I didn't have any other plan. There was no plan B. This was plan A, you know.
Didn't you have that happen recently?
Trying to think.
Where you were like almost on the verge of entrepreneurship, but you had to like go back. Like you had.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have lots of times throughout the year where like, hey, plan A's not working, you know. Definitely jumping into full entrepreneurship, I had, you know, lots of thoughts of like, man, it's not how it's that's not how I envision it turning this out to be. Or you know, my efforts are not turning out to be, not getting the results I wanted. So definitely that definitely I related to, as far as that. But I related as far as a whole, I would say I had a vision for my life before, I had, my son and things like that. I had a different vision. Like my plan was different, and I'm a planner. So like everything has to be like in my head, like, 2-3 steps ahead. Like, okay, this is going to happen. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Like, it was never ever a doubt in my mind what I could achieve, what I could do. Everything was always there. Started a family, and stuff like that at a very young age. So things really it hasn't been worked out in my mind as I thought it would be. It took me taken me a while, right, to really learn, grow, overcome certain adversities and it's really because it's unexperienced, right? I talk with my wife all the time, like, man, I can't, like, knowing everything I've gone through, the experience, I don't see like my son in like 2-3 years having a kid, going through the stuff that I went through. Like, dude, there's no way. Like, I can't believe me and you at 17, 18 years old, like, just stepped out thinking like we can do this, type of thing. And then going back and like, man, we knew nothing. And so, but like Inky Johnson, right? You find the blessing in that adversity. And I think like this whole, when I think about like all I've gone through, all I've been through, things that are still going on today, right? The struggle, the adversity of things not, panning out as,
Give me an example, bro. Give me an example
as
of
we wanted.
adversity
So
is a blessing for you.
yeah, so I would say just that entrepreneurship. I would say that's probably the closest thing I can come up with right now. Is that I jump in, right? I'm looking to plan to make a certain amount of income, right, to where my wife can still stay at home, take care of our kids, and do that. All right, so similar to you, right? And then I think I've been the provider for the longest, and so but I was like all in the entrepreneurship, but man, income started like decreasing. It was going the opposite way. So income was decreasing, like, steadily, right? I was going up a little bit and been going down like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. I'm like, dang. And so that was initially, decreasing, to where, I was like, man, I think I need to go back to a 9 to 5. Like I was like, I was really considering, like, I have enough experience that I can say I can go back to 9 to 5 and probably, make a lot more than, I'm making right now, to be honest with you. But, that's not it's gonna take away a lot from my family. Like, I'm gonna be there a lot. I'm gonna work a lot, right? It's gonna take me away. I'm probably gonna be stuck in traffic. I'm gonna be, in an office. I'm probably gonna come home and bring work to the house, things like that. So
you're telling me entrepreneurship is worth it, right?
Yeah. And
Is
so
it worth all this grind and hassle and having to get 2 jobs and thinking you're gonna make it and not make it? Is it worth it, brother?
It's worth it because I have that time with my family, and like I can put in the work, and I know I'm gonna get, if I put in the work, if I put in the time, I'm patient, I learn from others, I shift, I change, I adapt. I'm gonna get to where I want to be eventually. Real estate investing, all this stuff I'm doing, like all these things are little entrepreneur jobs. Even the side gig I have other aside from my fitness franchise business, it's sort of like an entrepreneur. It's also like an entrepreneur. I got to hustle for that as well. And so, but it's still, I still keep in the freedom I have to spend with my family. So I can still pick up my kids, take my kid, from school, take them to school, like all that stuff. So the adversity of that, of like losing income and stuff like that, and not things panning out as I think it should. I think it's just, hey, I'm just being prepared for like the bigger blessing that's coming. Like it's coming. I just got to keep the track that I'm on, and like I said, adapt to things I need to adapt to, and grow and just go to another level. So so that's what I really got, from the just Inky Johnson, just turning, looking at what your situation is and looking at, hey, this is a blessing. I gotta change my mind, look at it as a blessing, and know that my purpose is probably bigger, right? It's not that 9 to 5 for me, right? It wasn't, that is something else, right? What I'm getting from spending with my family is a lot more valuable than, you know, whatever money I could be making more. So
It's worth it. Anybody think about
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is worth not just family time, but your own creating time on your terms. Bro, you no longer got to ask, can I go take a lunch? You ain't got to clock in, you got to clock out. You control everything. Everything. It's so worth it. So, Chris.
So when listening to Inky speak, there were three things that kind of stood out to me: the willpower, adapting, and then overcoming. You had touched. I mean, you gave a summary of his story, and there are some things that I wanted to bring up about his story that will relate to those three topics. But like,
Wait, have you heard of this guy before? Is this your first time?
Honestly, I had heard of him, but I didn't really know anything about him until this week. But yeah, so the fact that he was born to a 15-year-old girl that, like you said, he lived in a house, in his grandma's house, with 14 other people, or 13 other people, 14 total, in a 2-bedroom house, and they would have to rotate who would actually sleep on the bed. Yeah. So there'd be 6 people in the bed, and
2 at the foot, 2 at the head, or
something like that. Like, I mean, there's 6 people on the bed though. Oh. And at 7 years old, he decided, I need to get my family out of this. I'm joining the NFL.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, he didn't do that great in school or anything. But I don't remember if it was a coach or a teacher that got him and one other guy into youth sports. But football obviously being the number one thing.
I think it was like a friend who saw them working out in front of their yard.
Yeah, something like that. It was someone's, either like, it was an adult though that got them into
who had money to take him and his cousin.
They paid for them to do organized sports.
Yeah.
And he would go to practice, but he would have to wait until his mom got off of work, and she wouldn't get there until like 10 p.m. So he would be sitting there waiting for her until 10 p.m. And then when she got there, he would ask her to turn on the headlights so he can practice some more. Like, who does that in general, let alone a 7-year-old? Like, his willpower, like back then he already knew, I need to get my family out of this. So
his why,
his purpose was super deep. So that I mean, just that part alone was mind blowing. And then obviously he became an elite athlete, even though he grew up in the hood, or in a neighborhood of Atlanta that was full of crime and gangs and everything, people getting shot every day. And then he made a name for himself in high school, became a great football player.
Yeah, like
you said, he ended up going to Tennessee and he had that injury. But even after that, he was like, okay, well, I'm going to recover and I'll be fine. Like, he had a positive outlook on life. And he went to therapy for 2 years. Kept asking him, oh, how's it looking? Like, when am I going to get better? Move? Yeah, like, and then finally it was like after that second year, it was like one of his final visits. He asked him again, he's like, how is it looking? And he's like, honestly, like, you're probably never going to be able to use it again. And like, even then, like, it's been 2 years and he was still pushing, and like, he was trying to overcome this situation so he can still go up and play. And obviously that wasn't in the cards, but like you said, it led to a different path for him, and he was able to adapt and just inspire so many people out there. Yeah. And just listening to speak, like, now I understand why you guys are so into him. Like, he's super inspiring, and like I said earlier, he hates being called a motivational speaker, because I mean, he's trying to, like, he says that makes me feel like I'm trying to get you to do something you don't want to do. I want to inspire you. So that's, okay. I was like, man, that's awesome.
I got a question for y'all, because it sounds like, he understood his why early on. How old were you guys when you figured out your why? I feel like some people still don't know. Some people still, you know, to this day who are 30, 40 years old, like really don't know. Like what age were you guys and what did you have to do to get your why? What happened?
I think for me, I knew fairly early on, but I didn't know what to do about it. Like I always knew that I wanted to be a parent and I wanted to provide for them the way my parents have, but take it to the next level. But I wasn't really doing anything about it. Like I didn't realize it at the time. That's like my why. I just thought of it as a goal for myself. But I would say probably even as early as in like my high school years, I thought about like I always thought about that kind of stuff. But yeah, obviously it didn't pan out. I didn't do anything about it until more recently. But I mean, it's a longer path for me than it is for other people, but that's okay.
I think for a quick second, I think everybody feels like they're meant to be great, right? Ian, I mean, honestly, I think everybody feels like they're meant to be great, but somewhere along the lines, they forgot about that.
Yeah, no, we definitely start as early as like childhood. Like you can think you can be anything, a firefighter, an astronaut, a policeman, Superman. But I think what we're taught and then what we're around really, really affects us. Like what we hear from the outside world, and it just kind of beats you down until you stop believing in yourself, you stop betting on yourself. Which is really hard to break. Like I mean, it could be something family oriented where like it's just this is what we know, we're gonna keep it going, or it could be one instance in middle school where you, I don't know, try out for a band or you try out for some talent show and you get locked off the stage, and who's to say you don't become the next great artist just because of that one moment. So
Well, you know, when you start to get into, you know, high school, you know, dreams become almost stupid to chase. And it's like, hey, you need to start going to college and getting a real, you know, here comes life, bro. You're going to have to pay for some rent. You have to feed yourself. And so I think at that point where it's all like, whoa,
yeah,
I guess my parents are right. Right. So you start believing into the hype because the culture around you is doing exactly that. It's time to step into the real life. You know, 1% of the people are chase their dreams or actually get to their dreams. Chances are you doing it. It's not happening. Go ahead and go to college and, you know, go ahead and get a career. And then, you know, we end up getting exactly what we want. And then now we're here feeling super unfulfilled as fuck. Vic, what's up? Age.
No, yeah, I think for me, just getting it's almost similar to Inky Johnson, but we didn't have like 14 people in one room, or one house. Nah, thank goodness. I would say, man, but we did grow up poor. For me, it was just getting my family out of that. You know, first oldest out of, you know, first generation immigrant family. So for me was, hey, I'm gonna be the first of everything, you know. So that was for me the why back then, early on, was I'm gonna be the first one of everything. I'm gonna break the barrier of,
can I ask you a
graduating
question?
first high school, going to college, and yeah.
I don't think you can.
No, I noticed that because I have it, like he'll hear a question, he just kind of keeps going, and then he's like,
talking,
oh yeah, okay.
I'm trying to create some dialogue, bro. I'm trying to talk to you, man.
No, because I feel you too. Like technically, I'm first generation as well. I mean, my dad came over his own ways from Mexico, but you saying that, you know, you would be the first at everything, did that bring its own pressure? You felt like even growing up, like did you feel it at any point in your life?
I would say pressure, no, but I definitely didn't want to disappoint anyone. So the fear of disappointment was more like a driver than anything, or than to bring me down.
And how old were you when you started having those thoughts?
I was I think it was early on, like in middle school and stuff like that. I started catching on, like, I'm a lot smarter than all these people out here. Like, like I start seeing my friends, like, I don't think like my friends do. Like, my mind is like somewhere else, you know? And so, like I was thinking about colleges, you know, I had like my mindset on certain colleges when I was in middle school. Like, all right, I'm gonna be, in my mind, I wanted to be a CEO. Like that was always been in my mind when everyone was like researching like, oh, what career you want to be at. my career choice was CEO. I made a presentation about being a CEO. I remember I got my dad's suit because he had to make the presentation like interactive. So I bought a suit, didn't fit me. It was like it was all big and stuff, but like this is our CEO's dress. That's how I'm gonna be. And I presented about being head of like a company or something like that.
Yeah, we definitely have some similarities with that, like first generation immigrant or from immigrant parents. And then you were talking about thinking about colleges early on. Yeah, I was saying I wanted to go to San Diego State. I mean, and that was before I even knew really that it was a party school, but like there was something about San Diego State that I wanted to go to, because this is before I moved to Southern California and I didn't really know. Me and my friend were like, we were going to go to San Diego State, and we were talking about adversity earlier. Like I actually got into San Diego State, and like I was out with two of my friends. We went to go to the Price is Right, and we were like in the audience, and it was an awesome day. Like afterwards, we went to the it's like right next to, I can't remember. It's like a shopping area right next to the CBS studios. I think it's called the Grove or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Grove in Culver City, and
Yes.
we saw that the Wayans brothers were going to be doing like an autograph signing and stuff. So we're like, all right, well, we'll go to. They had just released a joke book, so we were like, okay, let's buy this joke book, get it signed. So we got to meet the Wayans brothers, and it was an awesome day. And then we're heading back to my friend's car because he drove, and my brother calls me and he's like, they rescinded your admission. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, stop messing with me. And then I thought, I was like, that's a really random thing to be calling me about while I'm out, like like doing all these things. And then like it just kind of killed the whole day. Like I was like, man, like what
Sucks.
happened? Like I had good grades. I did everything I needed to do. I mean, this is after already losing a year of college because of a counselor that gave me bad information. Like I was like, man, again? Like what the hell is going on? And then like we show up to my friend's car and we got a ticket. So he was in a bad mood too. And like we drive home, and I was like, then the very next day me and my parents drove down to San Diego State. I went to the office and was like, what can I do to change this? Because like I already paid for tuition. I already had my ID card. Like I had paid for the dorms. Like I was ready to go. Like it was a couple weeks before school was supposed to start. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, and then like, well, sorry, we just took too many students, and they kept the ones that were part of South County, San Diego, because that's the county that it's in.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, well, at that point it was a low point for me. I really did consider like quitting school altogether. I was like, I'll just go work at the casinos like my parents and start off at like $50,000 and work my way up from there. And I was like, that's not for me. Stuck with school, but so I had to do another year of community college, and half these classes I just needed a unit so I could stay under my parents' insurance. So a lot of these classes were just kind of like joke classes just to make sure that I can be insured. And then I apply again, but this time I applied to other schools as well. That was the only school I applied to because I like I said early on, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, they didn't accept me. They increased the GPA to like a UC school, like, or a private school where you have to have like an extremely high GPA, like almost like a 4.0 to get in. And so I ended up going to a school in the San Fernando Valley, Cal State Northridge, up in the LA area. And honestly, like it was probably better for me anyways, because that year that I was taking in between, like when I had to take another year of community college after I got denied from San Diego, or after they rescinded my mission, I met Miranda, my wife, if I was at San Diego State, I probably would have never, like, because she lived 4 hours away from where my parents live, so that would have been another like 5 hours away. I probably would have never kept in contact with her. Like, we might have texted here and there, but like it probably wouldn't have started anything.
You're back texter.
So it's
you
kind of a
told us already.
blessing. But
Love story. I got declined from the college I wanted to go, but then
no, but
ultimately I met
I mean,
my
but we were
wife.
talking about like these things that happen in your life and it changes it like for the better. Like I ended up, so like I said, I ended up going to Cal State Northridge, and then my second semester in Cal State Northridge, I get a letter from San Diego State. Oh, we didn't accept enough students. Do you want to come back to our school? I'm like, well, no, like I'm already changed like my projection in life, and like, I mean, and it ended up being the best thing for me because I mean, look at us now. We're about to have our kid, and like I said, I probably would have not been with her if I was at San Diego State.
I mean, more importantly, though, you met us and we got a podcast, but let's just hear
I
some.
mean, that came on later, but yeah.
I'm a little shocked. Vic, did you go to college? You went,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. In community college, right?
I don't even have a degree.
But did you, Vic? You got a degree, Victor?
Nah.
No.
I ain't finished.
I got like 60 hours. I'm like 2 semesters away from getting like a applied or was general studies associate or something like that.
Man, college wasn't even in the picture for me. Like I wasn't even thinking college. When y'all said y'all were ahead of the game, I know like mine was not even there. My why, my reason being of I just knew I was meant to be great at like living I knew one day I was gonna live the high life. Like that was all I would daydream about. I grew up poor as shit, like in gangs, like ghetto. We did not think college. I didn't think it was gonna be ever a thing. I just knew I literally thought I was going to NBA and going to make it big time, drive Lamborghinis. That's what we and my friends would talk about all day. NFL, NBA, track star, or football player. My best friend, Matthew. All we were talking about was make it to a league or professional and talk about Lambos and money and mansions. And so I just knew like that right there. And you asked Victor, was there any pressure for you to get these things, right? Victor said, no, there's no pressure. Nobody cared if I would have done great or worked at a grocery store. That was our environment. Like there was no outside pressure. And I didn't discover my why until I started dipping on accident to entrepreneurship at age like 24, where I got into nutrition and people started asking me for help. Then I was all like, oh, what is this? I can help people. And then I helped people. And I was like, whoa, that gave me like that boost of motivation or confidence. Like, wait, I can do this. That right there, I started developing my why. And then it started me chasing entrepreneurship. And that's when I found CG. And then CG was just the right environment to freaking mold and develop and learn and listen and go through the entrepreneurship phase and just realize like, yo, this is it. I don't care how hard it is. I'm never going to give up. Like, no, I'm not Victor. I'm not Chris. I'm not Ian. I've never been the smartest dude or thought I was the smartest dude. I was just always the dude that knew I was going to be the person to outlast and never quit. Like if it's going to be me head to head to somebody, I'm going to die first before I let somebody beat me at something that I can just physically handle. So I'm here, baby. And I think entrepreneurship, and I think that's like one of the reasons that you got to have that deeper why. And you also got to have that willpower that Christopher said. Like you just got to have that you got to outwill somebody at some point mentally, no matter how smart they are, no matter anything. You just got to be able to outlast them. Eric Thomas said it best. And that's why we wake up so early in the morning. I just got to get to the spot before they get to the spot.
There it is.
Baby. I actually just listened to that earlier today.
I live, bro. It hits me every single time because I'm ET, bro. I'm not the smartest motherfucker around at all. I just know I gotta work harder and get to the spot before the geniuses get to the spot. That's all I know. 3 a.m. wake up call. I don't know always do it. 70% of the time I do.
Hey, I'm gonna backpedal real quick. I won't take too long, just because my points that really stuck to Inky are a little bit different. I guess give a different perspective. What I loved about Inky, and I've known about him for a couple of years, but not as like in depth as today, is that you have a choice to see the good in any situation, and that's what I loved. Like he gets hit, and he's looking at his dad on the gurney on the cart, and he says, "Yeah, I hit him real good, didn't I?" And his dad replies, "You got him good, son, but you took the worst of it." But the fact that you're in that moment and you still think I'm doing something, like just the bright side of it. But what I really, really loved is because of that, the seeing the good. There's so much beauty in the world that you see, but we're so negative about things, we miss it everywhere. It could be your child waking up, it's you waking up, is you seeing something outside. There's so much beauty in this world, and you have to shift your perspective or you're going to miss it. And I guarantee you'll regret it. And I love what he said, Bass, in one of his, probably all of his, speeches, is that we're all in the people business, because every day you have the opportunity to make an impact on someone's life. He says that when you switch the mind shift from me to we, you become a very, very, very dangerous person. So please take that away today. That's my biggest point, not pain point, but talking point. Shift that mindset, because you'll be a dangerous motherfucker for sure.
Did that have to do anything with your post that you recently made about self-made?
No, actually, I listened.
Okay.
I listened to it after it.
It almost tied together.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, you can't. This world is way too hard to do by yourself. You can't. There's no self-made nothing. There's somebody that helps you along the lines.
That word right there just gives me I want to vomit when I hear somebody say self-made.
I know. I said it once, and I'm pretty sure you almost came through the camera. But yeah, no. To kind of close it out, thank y'all for joining us again. This is after New Year's, so happy New Year's. Just a friendly reminder, we're all basically all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. So if you listen to us only, we got a video of our beautiful faces and vice versa. So please leave a like, subscribe, give us a rating. We'd appreciate any support. But yeah, you're born to be great, so go and do it. As always, thanks for joining us. Till next time, peace and love.